Hello, Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts here, and welcome to the 1st of March's virtual Card A Cuppas. So, today is 1st of March. I'm not in the UK, so Carol and Trisha very kindly hosted the actual Card A Cuppa this morning over at Home Grange, at the Grange Chocolate Cafe. So I'm talking to you actually from San Diego, where it is now 6:30 a.m. It's also pouring with rain, which is actually quite nice for California because we don't get that much of it here. But anyway, I digress. So today's Card A Cuppa kit, which everybody would have picked up this morning from the in-person event, or those of you who ordered and had them mailed to you. Hopefully you have got these. They did get posted out over a week ago, so touch wood you've got them. But anyway, so the kit itself, and this was designed by Carol and Trisha. I worked on the basis that if they're hosting the event, then if they make the kits and design the cards, then life is much easier for them, and it also means that I don't have to explain it to them. But what it does mean is that I have to familiarise myself with the kit. Obviously I have seen it, I've taken photographs of it, and this is it. So we have, as always, an envelope. So this time we're not going for basic white. This is very vanilla, so it's a cream colour. We have a Crumb Cake card base. So it's standard A4 cut in half, but this time we're cutting in half on the short side. So it measures 10.5 centimetres by, this is the whole length of the A4, so that's 29.7 centimetres. And it's simply scored and folded in half. We have the usual piece of, well, this is, in this case, it's very vanilla to go on the inside, so that you can, I mean, Crumb Cake you can actually write on, but I always think it's much nicer to have a more neutral colour like white or very vanilla to write, and you can also stamp on it. There is another piece of Crumb Cake, which is cut slightly smaller than the base card front. There is a lovely strip. So this is, and I just need to double check that I can actually see this, because I just suddenly realised that I hadn't checked that this is actually going out. So bear with me one moment whilst I waffle on and double check. Oh, yep, looks like I am. Yep, good. That's what I want to know. So this is the fine glimmer paper that you'll find in the January to April mini catalogue. It actually comes in 3 colours. So this is the gold. There is also soft succulent and fresh freesia. So this is a strip of that. The paper, I know it's only a small piece. This comes from the Flowers and More 12 by 12 double-sided paper, which is actually a host item that you will find in the mini catalogue. For those of you who, and I know of a few of you who actually place large orders, so that's £150 or more, you receive this thing called Stampin rewards. And the first level is 10% of the amount that you spend once your total gets to 150. So if you spend £150, that's excluding P&P, then you will receive £15 Stampin rewards to use on anything in any of the current catalogues, or I guess even the clearance rack, or the online exclusives which went live today. So this is something that only those who have Stampin rewards to spend can purchase. It's a huge pack. It's, I can't remember now, but it's like double the amount of paper that you would normally get in a 12 by 12 pack. So there's that piece, and then we have some Crumb Cake die cuts. So we have a oyster shell, and then some other shells, which I guess these are oyster shells as well, but they're just much smaller. So we have three little ones and a slightly larger one, which has, they've been die cut, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then there is a circle of the gold shimmer paper as well. So you probably want to know the dies come in the Seaside Bay Bundle. Well, they're called the Seaside Bay dies. And they cut out not just these really sweet oyster shells and things, but they also cut out a fair few things in the stamp set. So we also have like mussels, and these are small little shells. We have birds. This set of 3 here cuts all 3 images out at the same time, but they are in fact individual images. So it's a very versatile, especially those who love being by the sea. Even if you don't, and you know people who do, then it's a really good set. And the fact that it has some really nice sentiments to go with it. So these are all the images. So you've got mussels, some shells, this sweet little image of shells on sand, bird, which I can never remember if that, I don't think that's a warbler. And then you've also got your oyster with the pearl in. So that's the Seaside Bay stamp set dies, or you can save yourself 10% by purchasing the bundle with the items together. And these are the cards that Tricia and Carol came up with. So I have no preference. I don't know which was the first one they decided on. So I'm just showing them in the order that I've just basically unpacked them from the envelopes. So this was the first card that they made, and as you can see, you have 3 panels here. So they would have stamped the images, so these shell images, directly onto the crumb cake and then cut it up. And then they've sponged the edges here on all 3. Just used small pieces of the paper and the shimmer, and then what was left of the shimmer they've used to put under this little sentiment here. So the sentiment actually doesn't come from the Seaside Bay stamp set. It comes from this stamp set called Charming Sentiments. This is one of my go-tos at the moment, and the reason I like it is that you've got all sorts of sentiments here for all sorts of occasions. But if you don't like fussy cutting, and I don't mind fussy cutting, I have to admit, there is actually a die set that an individual die, so there's 17 dies, it's for 1 die for each of the sentiments, so you don't actually have to fussy cut them out if you don't want to. I do have the dies, I just, for some reason, I don't know why I didn't. I think it's because it's quite a large set and it didn't actually fit directly inside my stamp case, which is why I forgot to bring it. But hey, so we're going to use that, maybe, I don't know, but that's what was used for this particular card. So yes, paper, glimmer paper, they've been glued on. The panels have been glued on after they've been stamped. But one piece has been stamped and then cut up and then sponged. And they got another piece of glimmer paper and a scrap piece of very vanilla. We always take scrap with us to Card A Cuppa, because you never know what people want to do, and it's a lot easier if they make a boo-boo, then we've got a spare bit that we can give them and a trimmer to cut it up as needed. So that was the first one. I just wanted to see, and I didn't. So this is that sweet image that I was talking about with the shells actually on the sand, and that in fact was the image that was stamped all over this piece of crumb cake on the front. So that's the first one. The second one I kept very simple. So they put the little birdies on the envelope. This is, so they've actually turned it from a landscape card to a portrait card, which does mean that the folder's at the top. Personally, I'm not overly keen, but I don't object to it. I know a lot of people say they don't like it because it can be sometimes a bit of a pain, and if you've got a really weighty card, it will sort of like just... so normally, if I'm designing for Card A Cuppa, cards either are landscape designed, most of them, and then I'll do the occasional portrait, or if I wanted portraits, I cut them so that the edge is here, and then I'll flip them so that the edge is at the top for portrait. So, but the original cards were designed to be landscape, so which is why this has got the folder at the top. Anyway, I digress. So this particular card, very simple. We have a bird stamped on the paper, and the shimmer paper is glued simply to the top. The edges of the crumb cake have been sponged again, just to highlight the edges, and then the little round piece of glimmer has been put inside the oyster shell, and then a simple sentiment has been stamped on the bottom. So the thank you for everything is actually from the Seaside Bay stamp set. So for this card they would have used this bird image, and then they used that sentiment, and then for the envelope they used, this is one image, just so that you know. But when it comes to being die cut, although the die is one, it does actually cut out those three birds individually. So that was card numero 2, and then on the inside again they put the little birdies, which are very sweet. And most of these will probably go as standard cards in the post, because there are no actual additional embellishments. And then the third card, which actually might have been the first card looking at it, because it's really, it's what I always call my throw everything at it. So everything that has been provided is basically in the kit has been put on this card. So we've got all sorts of images here stamped directly onto the crumb cake. The edges again have been sponged. The Just For You, which actually comes from the, where is it? There we go. Charming Sentiments has been stamped on. Then the pearl was added, so the circle of glimmer paper was added. That's got a glue dot underneath. So put the paper and the glimmer on, and then it's simply being just put onto the front of the card. You may notice that this little, I don't know if it catches the light here. I thought I'd figured out the lighting here. The problem is that there's a sort of lights in the ceiling, and there's one directly above this table. So I've turned it off and I'm just working by my table light. So I'm hoping that the shadows are not as bad as they were last week. But anyway, so this has got clear Wink of Stella on, so I'm just trying to see if I can get it to shimmer a bit. It's just here on this pearl anyway. So, and then again, we've just got the image of the sand and the seashells on the inside. So there you go. So those are the 3 cards that Trisha and Carol very kindly came up with. So I'm going to bring back in my kit. Also going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's very difficult to follow on when you've got three already lovely cards made. So I've got that. So all bits that I've got. My stamp set. I don't need my dies because everything has been die cut for me. So what are we going to use? I think I might actually go mad and I might actually use the crab. There you go. That's going to be a bit different. Haven't put the back well that, so maybe I should do that. So this set is a red rubber, so it's a cling mount, which means it basically clings to your clear blocks. And being red rubber, it's got the cushioning on already, so you don't need to worry about anything else. If you haven't or don't know how to put your images on the back of your stamp sets, they come with a sheet like this, and you just simply peel off the backing. The backing for everything is in 2 bits. Some people like to pull off 1 bit at a time. I personally just prefer to peel off both bits, and then remember to remove the backing that's on the stamp as well. I do have one stamp that has that still on. I don't know how I managed it, but obviously I forgot at some point. And then it's just a question of figuring out where to start placing it. So I'm going to start with this claw down here, and then you're just simply going to line it up so that the image, the actual stamp itself, fits within the gap that's been created by peeling off that sticker. So there you go. So there's my stamp with my image now on it. Now it's really, don't know if you can hear, it's really, really tacky. And I like to sort of take off some of the tackiness from it using my back of my hand. Very random, I know, but quite a lot of people do that. Other people sort of just tap it onto onto their clothes, really. So that's the crab. And what else shall we have? I think I might do the shells as well, which is, I think, that one. Oh, crumbs, that hasn't got the backing on either. Good grief. You don't have to put the backing on, to be honest. You can just leave it without. Some people, it's really a personal preference. I like to, only so much, so far as I know then which way the image is and roughly where it is on the stamp. That's that one. Right. Oh, excuse me. So, let's see. Let's put it on that one. If you're wondering about the block, it's because it came in one of the kits. So most of the card kits have a acrylic block in them, so they're all inclusive, which is great, but it also means that you build up a supply of acrylic blocks as well. I like these because I like the groove and I like being able to hold them, but these work just as well, and what's more, if they come in the kit, then you may as well make use of them. Right then. So what are we going to do? So I think first off I'm going to stamp. Actually, the other thing I'm going to need, if I'm just doing that, is I'm going to need the other bit of this bit here, which is that one. Oh yeah, that one has got backing on it. Good grief, it's 6:30 a.m. So that's my excuse anyway. I just need a slightly larger block. It's probably a little bit too big, but hey. There we go. Right, okay, so I'm going to grab my ink. Now I've got soft suede and I've got Crumb Cake. So I'm not sure which one I want to use. So these are the old style ink pads. Let's start with this and see what happens. Normally I would say to you, you don't need to bash your stamps on your ink pad, but my ink pads here haven't been used for a little while. So I'm going to simply, yeah, that's not dark enough. think I might need to re-ink that, you know what, so I'm going to go with soft suede. So I'm not going to do tone on tone stamping, so I'm going to turn that over because cardstock has two sides, and then I'm going to hope that my soft suede is juicy enough and dark enough to show up. Right, try again. Well, it's still not brilliant, but it's better than it was. Methinks I need to re-ink these. And let's see. I'm going to put that one here, I think. Talk about winging it. There we go. And then we have this one. Now, do I want to add this in here as well? I think I will actually. I'll just put it in here. And then I'm going to put crab on here as well. Now I know I've not actually used any of the paper yet, and I will. Oh, that crab's got sand on him, so that I should. You know what? Let's get this again very quickly. I'm just going to overstamp that one because I'm not happy with the other side of that, and I don't have another piece of crumb cake, so this is going to be pure guesswork. That's that. And then I'm going to put the crab on. Put him here, I think. That's it. Not doing well today. It is a bit early. So we've got this and that. But you know what? I'm going to change my mind completely because it's my card and I can do, let's see how big this is. This is 14, so if I cut it at 7, or maybe I'll cut it at 6.5. I want to get the crab off. There we go. What's that? So that's going to go here. And then I've got my paper and I've got my, so the paper can go here, like so. I'm going to cut a piece to go under there. So let's just measure that quickly. 9.5. I guess it's good sometimes to see things go wrong, and that's one of the beauty of these videos, is that I don't edit them. So if you see my errors, then you know, hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and not do the same yourself. So it's going to go there, or I could cut it in half and have it both sides. Let's see now, it's 3, so cut it at 1.5, like that. So I'm going to glue that on. Actually, no, first, before I do that, I am going to, where did I put my, so I have some sponge daubers. This one hasn't been used. Yes, this definitely needs to be re-inked. So I'm just going to quickly do the edge. Like this. So have you guys had a chance to see all the new online extras that were available from this morning? I did manage to pre-order one of the sweets and I'll be sharing that next week, I think, but there are all sorts of things going up on my blog this week and on this Facebook page, so that's that. So I'm going to put this on here like so, and in fact what I am going to do is I'm going to just take it so that I've got some shells going off the page, the edge there as well. So I just need to be careful because I just want that little one there. Putting it on my grid paper, it's okay because it means I'll just be stamping on that. I won't be stamping on the table. I'll just kind of hope that that works there. Yeah, just fills in that gap. So I don't have a gap now. I do just have them going straight across. Right, okay, glue. So I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. I'm just going to put a thin line both sides of this. And I want it on the sides, not on the paper. If you put it on the paper, sod's law that it'll go on the bit that you actually want to have showing. So I only want a little bit showing. And to make sure it's all kind of even, hence the using the wet glue. That's one side, and then I'll put the other side on, like so. Now I could put the sentiment on that panel, but I do notice that I need to trim off some of that paper. Just going to do that quickly. It's okay. And then there's that bit. There we go. So I hope I'm doing Trisha and Carol proud with my adaptation of their design. Just make it small on that, just to make sure that those edges are fully covered. So that's going to go on here, like so. And I think I will put the sentiment on there, but I'm going to do sentiment onto some scrap that I have. So I'm going to put my strip there, like that. So I'll keep the gold. I might, actually I've got my oyster here, so I could put that one. So fold him up, like so. Put him on here. Yeah, that way. But I'm going to again put some more ink on the edges. You don't need a lot of ink on these daubers because you don't want to go too mad. Put some on that bit there and on the inside here. Like that. And of course I've got my little pearl that I can put in. Actually, I might just have it. I don't know. This is the problem. When you get lots of bits like this to play with, you can go completely nuts and just do what you like and take as long as you like. But I don't have as long as I like because really, you guys will just get bored with it. Right, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put my sentiment there. I'm not going to use my oyster. I am going to do my sentiment on that, and then, actually no, That's the bit to go on the inside, so I better do that now before I totally forget. So I do like to close my ink pads in between stamping, simply because I have a habit of putting a hand or an elbow or knocking it and it going on the floor or anything like that. So it's good to just simply close it, and then you're not going to have any issues. And I think what I'm going to do is this one, this bit of sand here, I am going to stamp it. I'm going to put it on here. I know I haven't glued anything yet, but I've just placed it on, other than that bit of paper. I just placed it on so that I can roughly see the spacing that I have. Now I realise that I've just got a little bit there that goes around it. I don't really want to be seen, so I'm going to quickly do this and guess where they're going. So actually that one's better, I think. It's a bigger one. So that can go on there. That one's going to go on here. And then that one can go on there. Sort of like that. Right. Okay. So I'm going to glue that first one on. Actually, I'm going to glue this on first before I totally forget. And again, I'm going to use the back of this. So I need to make sure it's on the outside edge. I'm simply going to attach it like that and then trim it as necessary. I'm not going to put a piece on the other side. I know for some people that would just be such a no-no, but there's enough in the kit here that if you wanted to cut that piece in half as well, you could do. So that's going to go on there like that. And I'm going to put that on with some dimensionals, which I do have, because my sentiment I'm going to stamp onto a piece of Very Vanilla, and then I'm going to fussy cut it out, seeing as I forgot the dies, but hey, I don't mind it. I don't normally quite go so mad with the dimensionals, but here we go. So celebration is over for another year now, so that won't be back now until 2024. I've got the mini catalogue still available. That goes until the end of April, as does the current catalogue. And then come beginning of May, we get a new annual catalogue. So it's coming to the end of the catalogue year. So if there's stuff, especially things like re-inkers for the in-colours, in-colour paper, in-colour cardstock, anything in-colour related, especially the in-colours for 2021 to 2023, then you need to make sure that you have them ordered, because they tend to go pretty quickly. So I'm just using a glue dot to attach this, these little shells as well. That's that. So all that's left for me to do is my sentiment, which is going to go on there. I need to glue my innie into my card before I forget. And this is where I realised that I've gone and stamped onto my scrap piece. But hey, no, I don't think so. That might be good. Yep. So put that in. I've got my envelope stamped, so that's all good. I've got this piece, which I'm going to cut that crab out, and maybe I'll do something with him. He's not going to go to waste though, so don't fret that one. And then I've got a scrap of very vanilla. And now, do I want to could do a thank you for everything? Actually, you know what? I am going to do a birthday, because this will be good for my sister, because she's very much, well, they're into sailing and stuff like that, so I'm sure she would appreciate a card like this. So yes, I am going to have to fussy cut this, but hey. It might end up in, I don't know, hopefully it's not too long. Now the this stamp set, the Charming Sentiments, as you can see, is a photopolymer one, which means that there's no extra give in the stamp itself. So I tend, if it's just words, I don't worry too much, but this has got a little bit of the sentiment where it's like a block, and sometimes it doesn't come out too well, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat. So if you want something that has a bit of give, even a bit of cardboard, anything like that that you have, you could use. So there we go. I'm happy with that. That came out pretty well. And then I'll put that to one side because I don't need it anymore. And then really it's up to you how you want to fussy cut it. As I say, I don't have the dies with me. Wish I had, but hey, I'll remember to double check my packing next time. I thought it was really good this time because I was packed the day before, which for me and most of my team know is like pretty much unheard of, because I really am one that sort of packs on the day. But no, I thought I would actually get myself organised, and obviously not organised enough. Do I want to go? I think I'm just going to go straight across. I could use my trimmer, but I kind of like it, the fact that it's a bit skew with. I just saw a spider as well. Ooh, where did it go? Heck, never mind. I've got a spider that's living in the little pot that sits on my craft desk that has all my scissors and things in, and he made an appearance yesterday, and yeah, I'm not too sure about it. Now, where do I want to put this? Now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking maybe it's too big, but hey, I'm going to go with it. I just need to work out. Maybe I'll just stick it in the middle. Be a bit different. So if I'm sticking it in the middle, I do not want to put any dimensionals under this portion, because there's already got dimensionals under this piece. So I only need to put some on this end there, and then I can put glue on the other end. So I only need to put 2 on, like so, just to get that bit off, and then I'm going to put some glue on this end. Let's see now, is that kind of, it's not quite as central in the card, but that's close enough. In fact, I may actually need to put double height dimensionals under that, looking at it, because it's not sitting that well. Sometimes when you have more than one layer of card, you might find that you need an extra layer of dimensional if you're sort of going off that raised layer. Let's see how that looks. That's better. There we go. So that's my card. Kind of simple, but kind of managed to make a bit of a mess on the way. But hey, you learn by your mistakes, which is the whole idea. You get to play with all your stamps, ink and paper, and have fun on the way. And then hopefully you got some tips from my mistakes, and you can know how to correct them. And there you go. Right, so that is my card. So that's mine. And then these three are the ones that went to Card A Cuppa. So we have that one. So that one, that one, that one. Hopefully you can fit. I can fit them all in, and you can see them. And that one. So thank you for watching. As I said, celebration's over, but we now have some new and fabulous online exclusives. It does mean if you want to purchase them, you either have to email me. You can view them online on my Stampin' Up store, or just order direct online. They are not in any catalogues. That's what they mean by online. And anything else? So next week will be a Stamping and Creating week. And I think I've just about covered it all. So have a good week, and I hope to see you this time next week. Well, give or take how long it's taken me to do this. All right, take care. Bye.